blacker the berry, the more it can heal. We stay in tune with our ancestors so we can feel you're in the presence of a king. I ain't making you kneel. We took the project to the runway. Let's hide more seal. You get it? We do more than put up triple doubles, run a huddle, engineers, and we ain't making trouble. Well, only if it's good. Our time is coming soon. Before Mike moonwalk, we put men on the moon. Go ahead and cap that. Make something out of nothing, now that's black. Pray to God to my people don't snap back. Superstition and avoid this black cat. I quote my mama proud cause I'm spreading peace. You didn't hear us struggle, so now we mumble on beats. Instead of hearing us teach, think of the things that we reach. Changing the world we preach, fighting your wars on the beach. My mind's a weapon, that's the only way I shoot you. So what you got to be scared of? I'm Black Future. Blacker than chitlins, blacker than hip-hop, blacker than Chadwick, blacker than Frederick, blacker than Denzel, blacker than Tupac. Check your history, cause we got stacks. The whole world's been holding us back. I'm celebrating, I'm black. Blacker than Michelle, blacker than Maya, blacker than Nina, blacker than Shirley, blacker than Oprah, blacker than Angela. Check our history, cause we got stacks. The whole world's been holding us back. I'm celebrating, I'm black. Well. Peace, everybody. It's a guy with the bow tie checking on you live for a special edition of Professionally Black. This is not a glitch. This is not the Matrix breaking. There is a bunch of black people on your screen for a good. This is a good thing. This is not LinkedIn is broken. This is not Black Planet. We need to bring it back. But anyway, my name is Daryl Perry, here to have a great event to celebrate Juneteenth, but also to talk about something very important. The retirement and rest of the strong black man, black woman. This is a phrase we've heard for a long time, depending on how old you are. You either heard it your whole life or heard it recently. But it's something I put this great panel together to talk about it. So before we get too long-winded in my opening, I'm going to introduce each person. I will start to my right, left, depending on how you look at your computer, with the amazing Lisa Hurley. Hey, Lisa, let us know what you do.
Hey, hello, everybody. And Daryl, thank you so much for inviting me to be on this panel. So, as many of you know, I'm an activist, a podcaster, a writer, and I am passionate about fighting racism and normalizing Black hairstyles, among other things. I am the co-host of the Introvert Sisters podcast, along with my sister Sharon Hurley Hall. I'm the host of Real Talk on Racism and the editor at large of Linked Inclusion. So that's a bit about me. And I know we have limited time, so pass it on to the next person. Looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Lisa.
And to your side, we have the amazing Future Kane. Future makes you feel good about everything. So hopefully she will bring that light to this conversation. But Future, let us know what you do besides make people smile.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us this beautiful day. My name is Future Kane, and I am the CEO and founder of Future of SEL, here to uplift everyone's voices so that they could be in spaces and be authentic, so that leaders can center in social emotional intelligence, and so that we can all be well in our workplaces and in our communities. Thank you so much for having me today, and I'm excited to get into this conversation.
Me too. All right, below me, another hip hop head. We have Caffrey J. Hey, Caffrey, let us know what you do.
Yo, what's good, man? My name is Caffrey J. I'm the executive director of Hip Hop for Change, the largest hip hop education nonprofit in the nation. Basically, trying to take back our culture, trying to take back the means of production, giving them free to our people. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm ready for this conversation. Right on for having me.
Awesome, man. I love your. He always has the best hats and shirts. So you got to follow him for the clothing. There you go. Right there, dead center, we got Jamal Marshall. Hey, Jamal, let us know what you do for the world.
What's going on, folks? I'm Jamal Marshall, CEO and founder of Listen Then Speak, and also host of Listen Then Speak podcast. I'm a certified counselor and a mental health advocate. My clients are the people pleasers, procrastinators, and perfectionists. Q to the P. So again, if that suits you, you know where to find me. So I'm also a mental health advocate. I'm big in the space of headspace. When your headspace and your heart space are right, everything else falls in the line. We say, let's get into it. That's my hashtag, not to break someone down, but to build them up. That's me.
I love it. And look, LinkedIn's are trying to hate us. I see some video freezing. So if your video is freezing, log out, log back in. I already said something before this video came out. Like if LinkedIn shuts down, it's because all of this black excellence in one place. But up next, Kyle Williams. Let us know what you do, Kyle.
How you doing? I'm Kyle Williams. Thank you for having me, Daryl. I'm the creator of A Long Talk About the Uncomfortable Truth. Basically, I'm a lifelong educator. For the last 2 years, I've been working to educate to end hate. Basically, I work to dismantle white supremacy every single day, one conversation at a time. You can check us out on alongtalk.com to learn more about it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, and right below Jamal, we get the amazing Dr. Venus. How you doing, Queen? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, everybody. Yay. I am so excited about the conversation. I'm so blessed to be with these esteemed, amazing human beings. I'm Dr. Venus, your hot mess millionaire. I really am committed to the emotional and economic emancipation of our people. And I say it has to do with healing the broken trust between Black men and Black women. I'm the CEO of a company. We'll figure that out later. But if you go to Amazon, I have a show there that's called Hot Mess Millionaire. And it had over 10 million views. And it gives you a sense of what I'm committed to for myself and for us in terms of us being free financially and emotionally. So can we talk about it now? Can we talk about strength? I can't wait.
I love it. So thank you everybody for being here. So part of this is Juneteenth is obviously this weekend. If you haven't noticed, Walmart has some amazing ice cream for Juneteenth to let you know. I'm just joking. But Juneteenth is this weekend. So my fear when this first came out was Juneteenth would become commercialized, and it happened very fastly or very quickly. And people forget the message of it. So in honor of Juneteenth is celebrating freedom. It was representation of our freedom as a people to finally know what's going on. So in representing freedom, I wanted to talk about freedom from a stereotype. A lot of us have heard the phrase strong Black man, Black woman, and often I think to our detriment. So I want to ask, I'll probably start with Kyle here. What does it mean to you when you hear the phrase strong Black man, Black woman? Oh, you're on mute, Kyle.
I've been struggling a little bit with this because the stereotype, I guess we'll talk more about it as people get into it. I just don't see, I don't first see the negativity to that conversation. So I think to me, it's a legacy of strength in, you know, in our people. Like I think you talking about, yeah, for me, so I don't see the stereotype as a bad way. It's like it's a lazy, call me lazy. You don't right. A strong Black man. To me, I'm at the point where I'm at a space where I don't see that as a negative stereotype. I understand the struggle that we're talking about. But my first feeling is about, I mean, I didn't even realize when I put it on this shirt, but this strength that represents itself over and over again on things that we haven't even, that we've been saved from because of their strength. So yeah, I'm in a space where I'm still in positive for me on the strong.
I love it. Okay. Dr. Venus, he's bringing up strength too. How about you? When you think about that phrase, what comes to mind?
The exact antithesis of what my brother just said. I'm like, and I love what you're doing with it. But the way that I hold that particular term has everything to do with abuse. So if a Black woman, hear me out.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. That's what
okay.
Okay,
thank you. So what I'm dealing with is when people say Black women are strong, that gives them permission to load us down with a lot of heavy duty work and emotional work. Mm-hmm. And if you think about the birth deaths, the amount of Black women who lose babies when they're getting born has a lot to do with the perception of us being strong to handle pain. When you start dealing with single moms actually taking care of kids, we're strong. No, we're not strong. We're surviving. And that's a survival strategy that's rooted in the trauma of chattel slavery. Now, a lot of us have been able to, to reappropriate the term strong, but we return into the cash cow for the American dream. And so we would have to be strong in order for us to be treated non-feminine, like a mule, like an animal. I get a little hot about that one. So when I hear strong, I hear an excuse to exhaust us and deny our softness, our femininity, our need for support. And it teaches us not to be open to being supported. So that's where I am. I'm falling back.
I just want to clarify real quick. In recognizing your strength, I don't deny any of that. In recognizing your strength, I don't take away from any of that experience at all. I recognize your beauty of still being able to live through all of that and still be here looking and breathing and doing. So it's not a slight to say because you're strong, those things didn't happen or can't happen. It's literally a recognition of because those things recognize happen that you're strength. That's what I say when I say that.
And I honor that as a Black man, but I'm gonna push back a little bit and I will pass the mic.
Yeah.
You benefit from it. So when people benefit from other people's strength or character or charisma, Black men are remarkably ingenious. And white supremacy has pimped it from every 1839 in service of their money. But they won't say, they're creative. No, that's called pimping. But we can't, but Black men, if I talk to you about how you can't make money, how they took out trade schools, I could run this, how they have literally turned to parchment farms, indentured servanthood, all the way down, like the way that you have been systematically trained to not have your own money, but always work for somebody else. That is a form of oppression to control you. And the parallel structure is the same. So if we're strong Black women and we don't need a man, we don't need help, and you are a trifling, lazy, or easygoing Black man that the only thing you can do is be a laborer, then as far as I'm concerned, just because it sounds positive, if other people benefit from it and I'm losing from it, it's not positive.
I think Kyle's a little more. I think Kyle's is a little more elevated than the average person. I think when he says it is from a place of love. But when you think of the grand scheme of it, the grand scheme of that phrase, when you say like white America saying strong Black man, Black woman, I think it more leans towards Venus' side, but Kyle's more the enlightened. Like you can be strong and soft at the same time. And I want to have Future kind of chime in on that because there's levels to this. It's levels to the word strength. It's not easy just to take it in one phrase, but Future, that you work in self-empowerment and everything, how do you feel about that phrase?
Okay, I feel mixed because I think as human beings, things don't always have to be, and I say this all the time, an either or. They can be a both and. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm hearing from both of you that just said something. If I look at the society norm of how we are treated, then I would say they look at us as my strength is also including then you shut up and you put up and you cope with whatever we hand to you, whether that's scraps, whether that's abuse, whether that's trauma, and you keep going and hush and be quiet. While I also think if you look at just when we were brought over here, as you were saying, Dr. Venus, it takes strength for a Black woman to have to be raped, to bear children, and then watch them being taken from her. Nobody could deny that. That is a strength that not many people have sat in, have had to live through, have had to experience. And yet we are still here and we are thriving, and we have to define what our narrative for strength is. We have to define it, not other people.
There we go. Okay, well, Caffrey with the hip hop influence with that. I mean, hip hop is all about talking about the struggle. So when you hear that phrase, what comes to mind for you, King?
Yeah. First, I just gotta acknowledge the intersections to this because that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you, Dr. Venus, for bringing that up. Woo.
I'm coming in hot.
I'm for all of that.
This is why I'll give you the microphone. I get hot about it, and perfectly y'all hear the passion as love, not as criticism, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's just that I have a real short fuse with regard to how we ingest oppression, and we become our own oppressors, and we don't think we are. And I really don't like the idea of strong because I think strong is a survival strategy.
Word.
Okay.
I agree with you 1,000. And self-care is something that's very new to me because I'm just like, I've been running, and that seems strong in certain ways. But I kind of want to bring it kind of a little to another level of a strong Black person. What does it mean to be a strong Black person? For me, it's kind of like what Kyle was saying. It's like we're standing on the shoulders of our people, of legacies that came before us. And I don't think there could be a strong Black without having a real solid connection to who came before. You know what I'm saying? You might still be Black, but if you don't know, if you ain't read your history, if you ain't like woke to what happened before you, and the responsibility that you have as a Black person to affect your society, affect your community, you know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily mean always trying to stand tall around white folks or whatnot, or what, but always grounding yourself in what you learned about your people and what we've been through. I think that makes a strong Black person. Regardless of whether you die on your feet, you live on your knees or whatever, you still got to know what you're fighting for.
Okay. Well, Jamal, you also are in a counseling space. For yourself, what do you think about that phrase? Strong Black man, Black woman, Black person. What comes to mind for you?
I myself have a very mixed reaction to it from a spiritual perspective. I like what Caffrey said about knowing where you've been so you know where you're going. And when I think of Ida B. Wells, when I think of Phyllis Wheatley, when I think of Frederick Douglass, when I think of George Washington Carver, I'm just naming a few, that is my Mount Rushmore. Those are the people who, when they talk about faith, when they talk about hope, one wrong move could potentially get you killed. Yet they had a hope, yet they had a vision. And they said, even if this costs me my life, I'm plowing forward. And they didn't just plow, they had strategy. They used the brilliant minds that God had given them. And so when I think about strong, I see the strength that they had, that they needed, without having the quote unquote privileges of others in this country being taken from another country. But when I also see strong, I think about it, and I know we have a kind of a 25 or 30 and older crowd. I'm gonna speak to the younger people. I grew up playing this fighting game called Mortal Kombat because I didn't like to be in the house. I wanted something I could win within 50 seconds and leave out and go do what I wanted. And the first Black character was this big muscular dude named Jax, big strong Black man. I was like, oh gosh, that's so typical. It's my favorite game. And it's just like, so when I see that, it's like, we're not placed in the places, later on they would put Black ninjas and different people in different sections, but I was like, we're always placed in the place of being someone very muscular, very brutish. And so that image is that I don't have to be that. I can be other. I can be a doctor. I can be a neuroscientist. I am that already. And so when I think of strong Black man or strong Black woman, I see brilliance, but I also see something that has been hijacked and taken, that a woman can take anything. A strong Black man is always on the football field or always on the basketball court. And so looking for people who look like me and others to re-identify what that means for them. And then to know that I can be broken. I can have moments of weakness. I can have moments where I don't know. A wise man is wise when he knows that he knows not. So that is very important. When I think about strength, is how do you redefine that and how do you re-identify that for yourself? So I appreciate what everybody on the panel said, but I appreciate where Kyle was coming from, because there is strength in our history, but there's also strength in us coming together and redefining what that means to us. I'm Jamal, and I'm complete.
Well, clubhouse mode, right? All right, well, Lisa, with the introvert sister, that's probably a good question for you. I mean, to think about that, because as a Black woman as well, I really think this phrase hurts women more than men when I think about it, the strong Black man, Black woman phrase. I feel like women have a lot more to deal with just with racism and sexism at the same time. So when you think about that phrase, Lisa, what does that mean to you?
Well, women do have a little bit more to deal with, like you said, because of our intersectionalities. However, I think that Black men are often left out of this conversation, left out of the mental health conversation. And, it's important to bring that in, because being seen as a monolith, being seen as a brute, being seen as a beast of burden, which was essentially our history, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is in itself inherently harmful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being seen as someone who has to be of service, and that is the only way that you are of value, that you bring value to the world, is to be of service. That is inherently harmful. Now, I see where everybody that's why I love these panels, because you get all these differing opinions and perspectives, and I truly had not thought about it as as the trope or the stereotype as a strength, right? Seeing it as a positive. But I understand where Cal was coming from. For me personally, I mean, I've definitely been in situations where I remember it was a class I was in a while back. I was the only Black person, and we were all asked, hey, describe the person next to you. And I was described by a white woman. I'm like, oh, she says, oh, I see you as strong as an oak tree.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was like, okay, and side note. yes. I was exactly like this. That was my body language. And then I had to try and reel it together, because I have little to zero filter. Right? But I thought to myself, there I was, I don't know, in my nice little flowery dress and my hair all out. I wasn't even, because, wardrobe is coded, right? I am very clear that, the head wrap and how I'm dressed today is one message. That's not how I was dressed on that day. I was fully in soft Black girl mode. I was feeling flowery and like frolicking in the grass. And I'm like, you looked at me with my flowing hair and my flowery, cute summer dress, and you thought oak tree. This is what you thought. And so that is harmful, because it says that no matter how you show up, no matter how you present, no matter what you do or say, it is so ingrained. It is so ingrained from centuries of seeing us and our ancestors, and now us, as beasts of burden, that even now in 2022, they can't see us any differently. And because we often find ourselves in spaces where we are one of a minority, or we are the only, then that is the expectation. The expectation is one way or the other. Now, we might be on a keyboard now instead of out in the field, but the expectation is for us to continue to produce. And if you don't produce, right? If you don't produce, then you are worthless as a human being. And so that's where I see the harm in it. I want to be free. I want to be this Lisa, and I want to be free, happy, frolicky Lisa as well, right? I want the freedom to be myself in all my multiplicity, in all my complexity. I want it for myself. I want it for us all, right?
Yeah.
We are not just one-dimensional. We're all multidimensional, and that's the freedom I want for us, to be free of the shackles. Free of the shackles of this trope. So, not that I have strong feelings about her or anything, but
well, I want to talk to the Martin real quick. So thank you, Lisa. I want to talk to the Martin real quick. A real quick comment from one of our white brothers in helping with this battle. He says, strength is a function of survival. It's not a badge of honor. It's a statement of dealing with traumatic society. So that's a good thing you put in there. And then Ingra, she said, I feel that. Kiana said, I'm not a strong Black woman. I'm a powerful Black woman.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm back.
Lee actually said, I agree to some degree. I feel where she's going with the message, though. We can't be wrong when we express our feelings. I like that too. And then he also, Josh actually even added, especially when strength represented in Blackness evokes white fear. That's powerful right there. White fear. When they see us strong, maybe it's usually a scary movie or something like that. Or like you mentioned with Mortal Kombat, the big Black guy's a scary character. But Martin, for you, thank you for joining us, King. What's your thoughts on the phrase strong Black man, woman?
Hey everyone, wanted to just read a quick paragraph from the Emancipation Proclamation that was given to the people of Galveston, Texas, as we approach Juneteenth. The last sentence says that, or next to last sentence says that free men are advised to remain in their present homes and work for wages. They are informed they will not be allowed to collect at military posts, and they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. So the concept of us being strong or strength, and that we can't be frolicking, we can't be just hanging out in the corner, shooting the breeze. You know, we can't have, I don't know, stuff that you chew on and you spit out your mouth and just sitting around talking to Billy and to John and to Bobby, just shooting the breeze, you know. Hey, Bobby, how you doing, Drew? We can't do that. It's actually a law. It's actually a declaration. Black people can't be idle. There is a documentary called "Exterminate All the Brutes."
Great documentary.
Brutishness. It's an excellent documentary. I advise everyone for Juneteenth to watch that. And then that's on HBO Max, and also watch Enslaved. If you don't get a chance for Juneteenth, do it for Kwanzaa. Exterminate All the Brutes and Enslaved. Enslaved is on HBO, is on Amazon. It's Sam Jackson narrating. But Exterminate All the Brutes was actually a directive from the church. It's also a directive from multiple world governments. Who were the brutes of this world? Who were the strong people of this world? Who were the people to be exterminated? Black and brown people. It's a tragic history of this planet. So when you talk about strength for me, and this is the thing, if you had talked to me this question when I was 16 years old when I graduated high school, at 16 with Fight the Power and Chuck D and everything else, and Professor X, I would have been like, yeah, brother, we strong. But at 51, I'm saying, nah, bro, we ain't strong. We beat the F down. We are survivors. And within that survival mode, we have figured out how to thrive. But that ain't strong. That's survival. And so, yeah, as you said, as Dr. Opal said, as Future said, my daughter is 8 months old. Yay. And so when Zora grows up to be 18, and she's exactly what Dr. Opal said, as a child of a traumatic birth. When she grows up to be 18, she's gonna get a little cap on people. Say, I was dead for 14 minutes when I was born. But my mother and father and my doctor pushed forward and made sure I stayed alive. But hopefully she won't have to have the title of being a strong Black woman because she thrived through her traumatic birth. So I definitely think that, you know, the older you get, the more you know.
Yeah.
And I think that knowledge is power. And I think I applaud you, Daryl, for more than a year convening this type of conversation. It's interesting, definitely, to have it on all places on LinkedIn. But nevertheless, hope they heard that. Nevertheless, you know, we are here. Are we going to do what we do?
Martin, they must have heard something because the video was freezing up for the first 10 minutes. So something must have been going on. But Kiana, you're going to comment too. At what cost do we thrive or we survive? And so she feels the same way about this. And I think about, you know, hip hop's big part of me, much like Kafiri. So when I think about like the Tupac era, that was hard for if you weren't a hard dude. If you weren't like the thug, it was hard. Like, I'm not getting thug life on my stomach. I'm not about that life. I go to school. I got good grades. That's not me. And it made it hard for interacting with the other sex because they're like, oh, that's what I want. I want that Tupac mentality. So I mean, as culturally, it was pushed so much that we started changing our behavior that I think even, and I can't say for all women, but all of y'all know there was some heartthrob. Either was a female or male. Usually the man was super hard, and then the woman was perceived as being too tough. When you think about,
you gotta say happy birthday, Tupac.
Happy birthday, Tupac. Yeah, you think about like Martin, like Pam, You saw the video earlier. Pam was always hard and harsh, or all of our characters in media. The woman was always like over the top. You think about Olivia Pope. They were always super hard, never had emotion, just kind of dealt with it. And it was entertaining to a degree, but you also thought about like, man, that's all we do? That's all we do is just survive through stuff and push through it. So I want to ask Kyle about that too. I mean, you're studying this and you had a different vantage point for this going on, but when you thought about George Floyd happening, do you think that changed the perception of strong black men back when, or did anything to that, or just kind of kept it how it was?
Well, no, I think there's obviously been a shift when there's a call for more action and a more opportunity for action, the strength of a people rise up. So I think if you're talking about specific to that, we're in a time and a space where we need, strength, power, whatever you want to add to that, whatever you want to bring, but action, and that comes from the strength. So, I think, and again, as I'm listening, this is a fact. Again, thank you for having me to this conversation. I realize that I'm of a little bit of a different ilk than the conversation, and I recognize that one of the things that I talk about, one of my biggest strengths is being able to be unapologetically black all the time, like I don't have to code switch. I've never operated in my life in a white-owned space in my entire life, so I've never had to. So while I appreciate that struggle, and I'm recognizing by listening to you all how much it has taken from you all. This is new to me to hear that in this space, because I think about strength. I mean, we're talking about the greatness of strength in these different people, and I'm talking about the strength of the bus driver. I'm talking about the strength of the sanitation worker. I'm talking about the strength of the teacher, the strength of the mother in the 80s that raised their power, strength, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about that essence of strength when I'm talking about. So, it's interesting and this is no disrespect, but I think about, here we are, doctors and CEOs on an international platform complaining about microaggressions. Like, I think about I'm the first generation in my family that was born with the right to vote. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about if my mother was listening and my grandparents were listening to us talk about how we're beat down by having these great jobs, but having it to be so hard when they couldn't even get an application. So I'm talking about the strength that we need to tap into to rise up, because I feel like if Nat Turner has Zoom right now, the strength of those people will be way far advanced than us having these little webinars and these little conversations. That's what I'm talking about.
I love that. If not,
I can just see an image of Nat Turner with Zoom. That's an awesome image.
It's a problem. It'd be a problem for a lot of people. There'd be a lot of strength going on.
Exactly. I just want to jump in and say it's interesting because Kyle, when you mentioned that you basically have you have not operated in white majority spaces, a nuance for me is that I actually grew up in Barbados, right? That's where the accent is from, right? And so what I grew up with was basically, even though it, obviously it's a post-colonial society, it's a former plantocracy, et cetera. However, by the time I came along, everybody that I knew it was Black in power. It's majority Black country, led by Black people from the prime minister right back down. Everybody that I knew in the circles that I moved in, everybody went to university. It was, in fact, it was not a question of if. I mean, you were going to go and you were going to excel, and then you were going to move on and get a job and just live life as per normal. This was what was expected, the expected path. And so that's what I knew growing up. I only began to feel the weight of my difference once I moved here and started operating in majority white spaces and realized, wow, there are people who, because I grew up with excellence was just expected, success was expected. There were certain things that were expected, and you were seen as sort of multi-dimensional, right? And you were raised to explore the breadth of your talents and your creativity and your interests. And it's only when I came over here, I was like, wow, people are expecting you to just fit in this one box. People are expecting that you're actually that you are incapable of sometimes even doing what you were hired to do just because you're Black. They don't care about your degree. or degrees. They don't care about your education. They don't care about your history. They don't care about your legacy. They don't care about any of that. They're like, oh, here's another Black person. Let me do them a favor by hiring them. Let me do them a favor by telling them how articulate they are. Let me do them a favor by inviting them to, and probably shouldn't say this, inviting them to my annual barbecue to show them off as my one Black friend. I didn't say. Let's okay, delete that part.
That wasn't you. That wasn't you.
That wasn't me, but you know what I mean, right? And so I actually have experience of both worlds, so to speak, being in a Black majority environment and being in a white majority environment. And let me tell you, woo, this stuff is not for the faint of heart. I was not the strong Black woman and Black man trope. I don't know that I was even fully aware of it till I moved here.
That makes a good question.
That is when it became a reality for me.
Real quick, Brooke, and shout out to Brooke Sinclair. I wanted to have her on a panel, but it was late in the game with it. She kind of helped me with the Juneteenth setup for this. But she asked the question, would you say you became Black when you came to America?
Woo! With a capital B. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is interesting because obviously, we don't have enough time to go into the levels. There's always levels to things. In general, I was more aware of colorism and shadeism in the Caribbean. That's not what this panel about. That is about. That's a whole nother panel, right? Over here, though, I definitely became much more aware of my Blackness and more to the point, the lack of expectation or just the expectation that I was nothing. That I was nothing. I was worth nothing. I could do nothing. I could achieve nothing. Lowest common denominator, zero expectations. And I, sort of internally, like you learn, unfortunately, Kyle, right? You learn to, earlier in my career, I definitely spent a lot of time shrinking myself and trying to fit in, like, oh, they actually don't want me. Somebody would ask a question, I would have the answer, and I'd be like, and then I realized, oh my gosh, they don't want the answer, and they definitely don't want it from somebody that looks like me. And so I had to learn to shrink myself. So from that perspective, yeah, I became, quote unquote, more Black or more aware of my Blackness once I moved here. Now I'm like, okay, well, I'm Black and this is the least you're getting, you're gonna have to deal with it. Oh well.
Well, Dr. Vita, I'm gonna have you chime on that too. I mean, considering everything going on and how you feel about everything, we're coming up on our second time as Juneteenth being a national holiday. I'm seeing more companies are saying you get it off, so they're parading the strength a little bit, our past strength. How do you feel about us emancipating that and being free and saying, no, this is our holiday, this is what we're doing, and I'm strong in that way? How do you feel about that?
That's a beautiful question. I think that but I want to say, Lisa, I love you. Can you please be my friend? I need you in my life.
Listen, I was here thinking the same thing. I'm like,
I need you in my life. Okay.
Oh
You'll help me not curse people out. Okay.
I love her.
Oh my God. You make it sound so you butter with it. I'm ready to slap people, but you're not literally. I don't think I'm
I'm right to slap them too, but softly.
Okay. This is why I need you. And so, but to your point, Daryl, this is the thing that I would love for us to take into consideration. Juneteenth becoming commercialized is more of, how can I say this, guy soft? The systematic reappropriation of not only our culture, but our money. So the challenge I have with us as a people is that we march, but we don't focus on money. And I say that with complete love, so please don't hear it as a slam. I think we've been trained to always work, to do, to earn. And when other people, other structures start making money off of us, we complain. The challenge is this: we have a $1.6 trillion buying power. If we want to shut all this, Jesus, if we want to shut all this down, if we just want to shut it down, all we have to do is stop buying shit. That's all we got to do. If we just didn't do Christmas one year, if we didn't do Black Friday one year, if we didn't buy Mercedes, if we didn't buy Air Jordans for 1 month, we would see that the thing that we could leverage is the one thing we don't value. Every other community has their money circulate within that community. Y'all know this. So I'm not going to berate. I'm not going to beat the horse dead. But what I am saying is Juneteenth will be commercialized.
Yeah.
And we're going to get mad because they did it first. Okay. You could mark my word on it. Right now they got barbecue sauce. Next year they're going to have kente cloths. And it'd be a different version of Cinco de Mayo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
don't forget it's the Freedom for Me plates.
Oh my God.
Napkins.
All the things, t-shirts, all the things. So I think that the real challenge isn't about them. I say this with full love and deep respect. It's about us. It is not about white people. It's not. And I have some amazing human beings who are fighting, doing their thing. But until we start to value and heal our distrust with each other, we will never make money together. And we get mad when they make money off of us. We're educated in a way that our ancestors were not. Y'all know this. I'm not gonna go into hip hop and music. The brothers can take with it. But I really will, I will advocate for healing us instead of pointing the finger at them. And the last thing I say, when I'm past the mic, thank you, Mr. J, DJ. I want you to see my t-shirt. Hold on. I got to show you the t-shirt. It's cute. Okay. It's called Black Men Need Hugs.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And I believe that. Okay. I believe that Black men, in terms of strength, is that you don't get the value of being a human being who needs a hug, who needs to be, I don't even mean it in a weird way, but like that you have feelings, foibles, flaws. White men get off for being mentally ill. Black men never get that pass. Yeah. We never hear that about you. We never get to advocate. And it's always, you are America's scapegoat on the Black man because he is the failure of the American dream. So, but it's America's failure, not his. So for all my brothers who love Black women, because the ones who are mad at us, you're gonna get mad at me, right? Thank you. They're gonna get mad at me. They're gonna do it. She's too. But I'm like, yeah, I may be, but I will fight for you. And when you need someone to fight for you, I got this.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a thing. So back to Juneteenth and money. I'll be quiet now. I'm done. I'm out.
Go ahead, Godfrey.
Yeah, first off, we definitely need hugs. We need to break right? We need to learn how to braid hair. We need to tell each other I love you. Thank you for saying so. We need that. But yeah, as far as Juneteenth and this money, that's such a good point. I do talk to a lot of white folks about racism and whatnot. It's part of my job, but I do think that the biggest part of my job is organizing Black people, right? We're not outnumbered, we're out-organized. When we look at the church, for example, right? That's a big force. That is a big force historically in all of our movements for justice and freedom. What's going on right now? You know what I'm saying? What's the focus? Same thing with hip hop. There was a point where we had those wooden medallions and we were talking about, who we are, you know what I'm saying? And those means of production got taken from us. And now we got people thinking they can still sign record deals. So I think when we talk about a strong Black community, we're talking about an organized Black community, where we can have mentors that can teach us the path. We can have people that will give us a hug and say, what's going on, brother? You know what I'm saying? Like, come here, man, be so. Where we can have, people taking care of our kids and they can see us in this community doing what we do. I think it's about organizing. And I think, panels like this, I think what makes strong Black people is people that are trying to organize their community, their family. That's the strength of Blackness, is our collective, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yeah,
I love that. And I think even Kyle mentioned action. That's been a big thing for whenever I do these panels. I say connect. Everybody watching this, if you're in the comments, connect with somebody you don't know. I met a lot of these people in this panel through commenting and then reached out. I've reached out to Future. Hey, let's talk. I've reached out to Jamal. Hey, let's talk. That, and not silo it, because at the end of the day, I feel like we were siloed up until civil rights. We were good. We were all together civil rights. We all marched the same drum. Then after that happened, we're not, like somebody mentioned earlier, you got my money, I'm not taking your money, we're going to stay apart. And I feel like right now, this is a good opportunity for anybody you see on screen, connect with them, have a conversation. Because at the end of the day, action what we want to have here. And Martin, you're great at doing that. I know Martin does a lot for action with the Black community. So with Black LinkedIn, obviously that's a whole ethosphere within LinkedIn that hopefully they won't shut us down. We're talking about it right now. But when you think about this platform and being here with being strong and talking about these things, do you feel like this is the appropriate time to celebrate our freedom, or we got more action to put forward?
Well, I just wanted to also comment on what was just said by Brother Jay. Being on MySpace and then before that Black Planet, you didn't really see the ecumenical, the Black faith community show up. But I saw different churches throughout that time period really be progressive and really try to join right alongside of young people. I don't know if anybody remembers Jenna 6, but that was something that was really pushed by the local community of churches throughout the country. We sent 1,000 young kids from DC and New Jersey and Pennsylvania. We could only do that through the church. So throughout the decades, the church has been there. The challenge, I think, for myself and probably Brother Jay, is that we may not see it and hear it. So this Sunday, I'm partnering up. In fact, at 1:30, I'm going to be live with Dr. Forrest Soares. And Dr. Forrest, he just stepped down from his church and replaced himself with a 30-year-old pastor. And he's really been, for the last, I guess, since 2005, however long it is, helped Black people save money to the tune of $36 million. Got Black people out of debt. But people don't know about it, So he just came and said, "Hey, bro, can we partner together so you can tell our story of 5,000 Black churches, what they've done for 17 years." So I think part of our issue is that we do things, we just don't necessarily amplify. And sometimes part of that was we couldn't amplify it, So I hear us sometimes saying that, what does so-and-so show up? And it's like, well, bro, it's just behind the scenes, we rocking it. That's how we ate. But we can't necessarily be on Front Street saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Because, there's exterminate all the brutes. A policy that even Obama used. When you watch the documentary, even Obama administration continued this policy. So it's ingrained institutionally, systematically in this country and in this type of capitalism, which is a fake, phony type of capitalism to begin with. So when you say about Black LinkedIn as an organization or as a movement, it's not one thing or anything. I happen to be part of one part, I would say, of Black LinkedIn, and that's Black LinkedIn is thriving. There's other parts of Black LinkedIn that are totally different and that are on Front Street and out there taking hits. Literally, people are calling in death threats to Liz Liba.
Madison Butler,
Madison. That's what we're going to go to Madison next. So, I think that, like Black folks, we're not monolithic. We're a tapestry. And so my part of the tapestry, my corner of the quilt is allowing grace and space. Just talking to a brother who was just saying, man, when you do your clubhouse rooms, people just talk and talk and talk and talk. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And we allow that, to some extent, because, a 1-2 minute space for you as a Black person growing up in a white community, a Black person growing up in or went to school in predominantly a white college is different lived experience than somebody who went to HBCU and grew up in the hood. So when you finally get the chance to feel you're in a safe space and you talk or you unload, it's not necessarily time delimited. So I think that to get to right to your question, I think it's not, I can't answer the question fully, Daryl. I can just say what we do is allow Black folks in our club, in our private group. We have a private group of 1,200 Black people on LinkedIn. And some of those folks work for LinkedIn. Some of them are high up in LinkedIn. And, we can just commiserate and help each individual person in their space navigate a specific problem or a specific issue, or congratulate mofos when they do excellently and they finally get the shine they need. We show up in, so either space, showing up to support or showing up to knock some heads, either space, just being able to be there for each other. That's all.
Yeah, I love how Belinda put this comment up here too, just to interject. Have a day of no spending on Juneteenth 2023 replaced with our vote. Please go vote, y'all. If you got some primaries going on right now, please go vote. But I digress. Future, when we talk about grace, I heard the phrase grace mentioned by Martin. And I feel like this current level of whatever you call strength or power might be de-shedding the armor. I mentioned in the original post for this, the suit of armor might not serve us anymore. So do you find strength now in people being able to go to therapy and talk about these things now that wasn't happening, heck, 2 years ago?
Okay, so this is the space that I love because I've been screaming about it. And also because one of the jobs that I currently have is at the state level dealing with these systems in regards to mental health and well-being. And I think it's important. And if we go back to even the men of you need love and hugs, as I like to say, the reality is that there's so much that we all are dealing with. And Dr. Venus, as you said before, what people need to get to is the root. I don't want to scrape the scar. We need to get to the root. And the root is that we need to all heal. We all have survived very traumatic experiences, whether that's from the history of your own culture and your own family, whether that is the history of you in school, your history in the community that you live, the history of your workplace. There's traumas, and we try to submerge them and not want to scrape them and open them up. Instead of saying, I am going to let the tears shed of Watergate's dams are opening and say, I need to get to my healing so that I can thrive, I can see you in me to keep moving the community to move us forward. So I'm all for 100%. We need to heal. We need to speak up about, I'm not well. It's okay not to be well. And if I'm not well, you're going to hear about it. You will see my black tears because those black tears are important for me being here and for me seeing you. So yes, I'm all about it. I'm actually writing an article this month in regards to Black men's mental health and well-being because it's needed.
Thank you for that, Jamal. I know you're going to chime in on that. That's your space too, Jamal.
I got to come in and piggyback. Obviously, my brand and business is Listen and Speak. And I've listened for a long time. Now I'm going to speak. So those who are still with us, I'm going to talk to the people. Listen well.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought about what Caffrey said and what Dr. Venus was saying about Black men needing hugs. And I think about us as Black men. I'm speaking to the whole diaspora. And especially when you brought up the thing about the Tupac thing and the thug and that image, that image, I live in DC. I live in Southeast DC. And so that image has been so proliferated that you have so many Black men who are struggling, who are hurting, who have mental health issues, who are struggling with different things with sexuality, just so confused. They don't talk about it. They want to spit bars of some hip hop artists, but they're not spitting the bars of their pain. Because it's like, if I actually put my brokenness out there, if I put my hurt out there, if I put my pain out there, even from my own community, I'll get backlash.
That's right.
So amongst ourselves, just that space to say, man, I love you, brother. And it's not, is that something we don't even have to code that with no homo. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's because it's been inculcated into our being that we need to be so strong that we don't give ourselves the space to be weak. What I loved about being with my dad when he got his healing and came into it is that with him, I could be broken. I could be myself. I could be everything I am and everything I'm not. And that's where my healing took place. That's where my brand was birthed. The fact that two men together that were worlds apart came together. And it wasn't just two Black men, two people who are spirit. We are spirit, folks. I want everybody to hear me under the sound of my voice. So that's why that's the energy that I lead with, because God is inside of me. And so I don't worry too much about voting, too much about power levels or anything like that. I'm connected to the most powerful being in the universe. People talk about the universe. I'm talking about the God of the universe, unashamedly. Can't nobody on this panel and beyond and on LinkedIn counsel me because God is with me. And so I want everybody here under the sound of my voice to know that and to be unashamed. Whoever you are, whoever God made you to be, get off the internet, find out who that person is. Nobody can stop you. No matter what, all the oppressive, all the things that have been set up against us, you are chosen. When I know I'm chosen. That's the energy I lead with. People say, well, why do you come in any room and act like you belong? Because the table's already set for me. I'm just coming to sit down and enjoy my meal. So I want everybody to hear that.
Boom, I love it. And then we even had an ally here saying mental health programs also say they include Black community members, but often they don't make sure those spaces include Black community members. And often even get the option for inclusion either, doesn't make access either. So it's kind of like if you go to when you see this issue with doctors, I know Martin just went through this, if you get a doctor that's not of your ethnicity, they might say, oh, you're strong, you can have that baby, no problem. You'll be okay. And you get a Black doctor, they're now, girl, you need to sit down. You're having some problems right here. And because you have someone of your own culture jumping in there.
Listen, Daryl, we had a sister jumped on the table My daughter was under my wife's rib. 6'2" sister jumped on. They call it the theater. So I'm in the theater, which is the operating room. I'm trying to keep my wife stable and just like smile on my face. And this woman jumps on the table and is pulling my daughter from underneath the rib. The level of quality that one of us brings to saving our children's lives. It's like teachers. It's like, even some of the brothers and sisters that are in law enforcement. When you hear a Black voice try to make sure that our young people live, it's a completely different level of quality.
That's more than bedside manner there. That's lifeside manner. Cause I know that's a problem we've dealt with here in Georgia before. When you have people not of your culture giving medical advice, sometimes it makes it hard. And you're trying to be vulnerable to say, "Hey, I'm sick. I need help." And that's even a problem. But Lisa, I want to mention you with the international connection with that. As we kind of wrap things, we're kind of getting to the closing of this a little bit. But as you think about that for your culture, being overseas and coming here, have you seen that coming to the States allowed you to be more vulnerable, or you had to be toughen up more so being here?
Okay, so a couple things I want to say. The short answer is I had to toughen up coming here. That's the short answer. I also want to mention, I'm not sure who that is.
That's LinkedIn calling somebody.
They're like, what is going on? We're about to break this up. I also want to mention that I have had the experience of actually delaying my medical treatment, right? Delaying going to the doctor until I could go to Barbados. Because all the doctors I know, the doctors are Black, right? The doctors are Black. I know where they went. A lot of them I went to school with. You go in, you sit down, you have a little conversation, catch up about the kids, blah, blah, blah. You're not rushed in and out. And they take care. They take their time. And so I definitely have had those two differing experiences. And then over here, I literally have just made sure where I can to select Black medical professionals wherever I can, wherever possible. In terms of having to toughen up, yes, this is a whole different level being over here in this country. I'm a wordsmith, and I know I'm not really using my words right now, but that's how deep it is. When I try to go back to Barbados at least once a year, and it's just this feeling of relief and just this feeling of freedom, right? I don't have to look over my shoulder. I don't have to code switch. I don't have to mask. I can just show up as myself, whatever that self happens to be. They could be a good self or a bad self, but I can show up as me and not think that I'm going to end up, unalived or in jail or anything. You can just show up, and it's so much safer and freer and better for your mental health. One last thing I want to say is a little bit of homework for everybody. Go on to just Google Black men frolicking. Either Google it or go onto TikTok. Right? Have y'all seen those videos? Oh my gosh. Just if we're talking about mental health, and that's why I mentioned mental health for Black men at the top of the show, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's what we're about. That's a big part of this discussion, right? Mm-hmm. Go and look up that hashtag, Black men frolicking. Listen, just a minute out of your life of pure, unadulterated joy. And that is what I am bringing into Juneteenth. I am divesting. I am not walking. I'm going to use some patois. I ain't walking. I ain't walking. I ain't doing nothing. So I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to relax. I'm going to divest and release the stress. That's my plan.
How about you, Dr. Venus?
Check out Black people's pets too.
Go ahead, Martin. I'm listening. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Check out Black people's pets too. If you check out both of those,
I'll do that. Thank you.
Black people's pets on IG.
Yes. Okay.
Pets. Yeah. Oh my God. It's just make you laugh, and our animals are hilarious.
It's true. Daryl, did you have a question for me?
No, I was going to ask you because I know you and Lisa are like best friends now. So I want to ask you,
we are.
Your Juneteenth plans. Since you said she's divesting, how are you going to celebrate this weekend?
I don't celebrate holidays. I don't have a value for it. It's an internal choice. It's you know, I'm already heathen. I don't need to be a pagan. You know what I'm saying? So let me just say, I mean, I'm being with my dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna go. I don't know. We're gonna go walk down the street, wave at some people. Probably look at frolicking black men, you know, and black people and our pets. That's just it's the thing with me. So, but I want to say, I know we're wrapping up, but I want to say, one, I want to say, Daryl, thank you so much for this. This was life.
Oh, no problem.
Affirming. Thank you so much for this, and thank you for allowing me to express. And I want to say to all of my men, I love you. Okay, please know I love you with my whole heart. And I think a lot of times, because we have privilege, our gender as women over black men, we haven't always given you the space to have a safe space to speak your truth and be heard and witnessed. So please know that you're loved, we're healing, and we're making room for you. Okay? So please know that.
I got to chime in on that real quick. I'm sorry. I'm not one to unmute.
Man, I was just saying thank you. Go on.
No, I can listen till the cows come home, but I have to speak to that and just say thank you, because we as men, period, and as black men need that space to just be loved, to be vulnerable, to be weak. You know, my strength is found in my weakness. You know, I boast in my weaknesses because the grace and the strength of God rests on me with that. Yes, I'm going to take the saints to church today. And I'm just really grateful for that, and grateful for everyone on this panel, everyone who stayed with us this long. I just want to let you know, man, if you have God inside of you, nothing can stop you. No amount of oppression, no amount of privilege. I get so sick when I go walk into Lincoln and see the words white privilege. What about your black privilege? Use it and blaze the trail that God's already given you. That's me. I'm complete.
Well, I want to ask one closing question for everybody to kind of hit on. So now that we kind of dissected what the phrase means, strong black man, strong black woman, person, to each person, in 2022, does it help or hurt? So when you hear that phrase in the national media, not in your own circle of like talking to your wife or your spouse, whoever it is, but in the national landscape of that phrase, does the phrase strong black man or woman help or hurt us? I'll start with Lisa. Do you think it helps or hurts us?
I think it hurts us. In within the context that you have outlined, I think it is harmful, and it just keeps getting perpetuated in the media, and therefore that's the expectation. I guess it's sort of a symbiotic relationship. So what's seen in the media is perpetuated in corporate and in the rest of our lives, and vice versa, right? And then people see us comporting ourselves in a certain way, and then that's what they expect of us. In corporate. And so I think it is harmful. I think it is time to release ourselves from it. It is yet another shackle that we need to be liberated from. And I'm saying that we need to be liberated from, but I guess I have to channel my new best friend, right? And say we have to liberate ourselves from it.
Yes.
I knew. I could hear. I was like, I could feel you. She's like double Dutch waiting to jump in. I'm like, oh. He's gonna say we have the power. Jamala's gonna say we have the power to do it ourselves. Blaze your own trail. So and that is true to an extent. So I think it is harmful. And we need to be released from that. I do have to jump out, but I want to say thank you, Daryl. Thank you, everyone. This was amazing. I feel healed already. I feel better. Right? I feel better. I have a new BFF. I'm good. My Juneteenth is all set. So thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Our Future, how about you? Do you think it helps us or hurts us in 2022 and beyond?
With the context that you gave, I'm going to say it hurts.
Okay. Short and sweet. Future's like, that's it, I'm done. All right, Kyle, I'm gonna jump down to you now. So with the whole conversation, everything we just had, do you think it helps or hurts us in 2022 in the national scheme, not in your direct conversations? Because I think personally it's great, but in the national agenda, what do you think?
I think as part of anything, every word has context. I just feel like we shouldn't care that much about what white people think about what words they put on us. How we define our strength is our definition. So in a national face or the national space, none of that matters to me, I guess, in the sense of what black people need to do to heal. So we define our own stuff. If strength is a positive for you, I don't know anyone that uses the word strength amongst ourselves, towards ourselves as a negative. It comes from the outside. I'm saying, fuck all that. In the national sense, none of that matters in terms of what we need to do to get to where we need to be. There's a lot of great stuff that was said in the chat about stuff we got to do. I ain't worried about what white people feel about my strength or my weaknesses. It doesn't matter. That's my feeling.
Oh, I like it. Okay. All right, Jamal, how about you?
You know what I love about Kyle? That represents a man that does not fear cancel culture.
Yes.
That's what I love.
Keep
That
it
is
real.
that's strength right there. Because even amongst, I'm sorry, I gotta drag the DE&I people out, but some of y'all really be on some cancel culture stuff. Stop it. It's not helping.
You gotta separate yourself from the benefits of white supremacy that will start working to dismantle it. You can't do both at the same time.
And I'm just, as far as does it hurt or does it help? It depends on the context. You know, so I think it's 50-50 and it's nuanced depending on what spaces you run in. I like Dr. Lisa running a lot of different spaces with a lot of different people. And part of the promise God gave me was Psalm 2:8, ask and I'll give you the nation. So I'm not just around Black people. I'm around everybody, but that doesn't mean I change who I am. I lead with the energy he's given me because I'm creating his image. And so with that, on Juneteenth, I'll be out in nature like I always am and sipping tea.
Grace, keep frolicking, my brother. Keep frolicking.
He always got some tea. He's hiking. That's what me and Jamal got in common, hiking. Well, Dr. Venus, how about you in 2022 and beyond? Help or hurt?
You know, my how can I say this? I think it hurts, and I think it hurts because it reiterates a false sense of power among ourselves. To me, strength is a false god, and until we can be weak and have that be our strength, then we won't be emotionally available for each other and be able to have the compassion, grace, and mercy that's required in order for us to heal. I know you're sick of me with this healing, but once we heal, we can build and grow together. And I will fight you on this. Healing is the solution, and everything else is just a distraction. Thank you for hearing me out.
Okay. Coffrey, how about you? Help or hurt?
Everything can and will be used against us in the court of white supremacy. First and foremost, like, ain't nothing that gets washed through this system that they don't beat us over the head with. It don't matter if it's our hip hop or whatever we create. Once it gets put there, it's bad. Solid negative. So yeah, if we talk about how we talk about our people, if I'm hollering at Kyle, you know what I'm saying? If I'm talking about to Dr. Venus, you know, we're gonna be recontextualizing what strength means in the ways that we talk as Black folks amongst us, and that's a different lexicon. That's a different kind of group. But yeah, I don't trust white America, and I don't think any tactic for our liberation that's based in white folks is. I'm not a betting man. For 400 years, I ain't betting none of my change on white folks as a whole social group. Like, you know, I love Josh, my man, you feel me? But as a whole social group, like white folks, nah, nope.
Yeah, we want to make sure y'all understand. We know there's good ones out there. We're just saying the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. And I wish we didn't even have to say that as well. You know what I'm saying? Because when we talk about social groups, we talk about sociology, that makes sense. And a lot of people want to stick us in the psychological. Oh, we're talking about individuals. No, we're talking about social dynamics. So socially, white folks are dangerous. Socially, men are dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You know, I get it. But yeah, I mean, it's not that we don't lack the sight of humanity of white people like they lack the sight of ours. You know what I'm saying? So we're definitely not saying that. And I don't think that we're going to stop white supremacy until white people choose to stop it and help us fix this and give up some of that money. You know what I'm saying? So white people, I think they might have to be part of the solution, but I think the catalyzation for that is Black folks coming together and talking about our strength internally as people so we can come together and get organized. And that's it. But yeah, in the court of public opinion, nah, don't help.
It makes me think when you mentioned talking to each other, my wife a long time ago started saying king and queen to people like in a grocery store. Like we would just say, hey queen, hey king, and they would look like, what, me? You're talking to me? It's the most bizarre thing. Like they'll just stop in their tracks like, oh my God, you called me a queen? And we're just as a random person because they're used to being like, hey B, hey N, you know, something like that. And they're like, oh, that's fine. But as soon as you say king or queen, that's not the social construct I'm used to. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Godfrey, with that. Martin, closing us out, you think it helps or hurts us, this social dialogue of strong Black person?
It won't let me. Okay, there it goes. I was like, it's not letting me live my best Black life. Yeah, I think that the ability to think for ourselves, wherever you land on that, is the blessing and the best thing we can do. And then the ability we have this as a people, we can allow each other to be who they are and still have Black love, Black community, Black trust, Black life, Black joy, and Black peace. So I don't have a position for or nay, or I don't think it hurts or harms. I think what hurts and harms us is by staying in boxes and silos. And that's a trick of the devil. So now, obviously, there's caveats and nuance to that. But for the most part, let's just be Black and let's just have Black love. And let's go into 2023 with a knowledge that who we are and how we exist is under attack. We are literally targets as we go to the supermarket, as we go to church, as we walk our dogs. We are targets. And so I need our safety to be at the utmost on our mind. As I like to say on Your Black News, before we shut out Your Black News every night, keep your head on a swivel. Please, Black family, be safe and know who you are. You are a target right now. And until that changes, for me, I can't have peace. I can't be in a situation where I can think of anything else but the safety of my brothers, my sisters, my grandmothers, my aunties, my nieces, my nephews, and my children and my wife. I'm Black and I'll be Black. Check out Your Black News and the Black Toolbox, which is a new book that I wrote, coming out tomorrow. And in 15 minutes, we'll be on LinkedIn Live with Dr. DeForest Soares, talking about the Juneteenth celebration that I will be taking pictures and doing live from on Saturday with Sister Opal Lee, the 95-year-old who forced the government to get the holiday. Whether you agree or disagree with the holiday, this 94-year-old Black woman forced the United States government to stand up and listen to her. I'll be in Dallas, Texas, and Fort Worth Saturday.
Awesome. Yeah, professionally Black exclusive. Thank you, Martin. Didn't even know about that. Good job. Well, folks, we appreciate you hanging out with us this whole time. We had a lot of comments going through there, a lot of engagement. If we didn't get to put you on screen, I apologize. There was a lot happening. So please, like I said, make sure you have something happen from this. Connect with people you saw commenting that you agree with, connect with the panelists, and do something. It could be collaborating on a webinar, actually buying product from this person, and circulate Black wealth, but also Black thoughts. We can have conversation with each other, and that's okay. That's not a bad thing. We can actually be idle and have conversation and talk to each other. I appreciate each one of you. Please be safe. Be safe on Juneteenth. You never know this day and age we're in. Things are crazy, so please be safe whatever you're doing for the weekend. And just remember, freedom is however you interpret it. The freedom back then is different than it is now, but you take your interpretation of freedom and apply it how you want to. This is us signing off. We will see you guys next time on Professionally Black.